Hey guys, it's Sean McGarry coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, home of the music salon where great things happen. Hope everyone's doing awesome out there. Today we got another blues lesson here, man. We're going to talk about a slow blues. To me, a slow blues is one of the hardest things to play if you're trying to play blues. It's so hard not to overplay and want to play. And the greats, which are too many to name, do it, and make it sound effortless. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about some strategies for doing that. In that little intro, I have a full breakdown and a backing track and tabs on my Patreon page. Please check that out. There's a link below. You get some extra bonus lessons per week, and you get tabs to most of these lessons and some other stuff. So check that out. And let's dive into it. So play in the key of B. And first of all, you just got to know 12-bar blues, right? So I'm just playing, it's like some 7 chords, Let's get into a little rhythm for a second, and we'll get into this kind of some soloing concepts here. So if we're in a key of B, I'm going to start up here with, I can start down here, but again, we're going to keep it pretty basic today. So I'm going to play my B7 like this. There's a major chord, just take that off. And I like that sound down here, just gives it a nice full sound if you're playing, as the only guitar player, maybe in a trio or something, or with, just whatever, if you're just trying to get more of a full sound. Okay, so the first thing is just that rhythm, like, it's a slow blues, right? It's got that. And you're really listening for the drums, right? So you're trying to really accentuate the kick and the snare on that. And, so you're doing some palm muting and some hits. Very rhythmical, right? Very percussive. Space. Okay, then you're going to go to the 4 chord. Now, you could go like this. And I just had this conversation with somebody recently. I hardly ever play a 7th chord with a root A like this. I don't know why. I don't love this. I like this. Don't get me wrong. I like the sound, but I always just find myself getting more of that sound, or like a 9th chord. So when I'm playing this, here's a little not trick, but just a little thing you can do. So again, I'm going to back up here. I'm playing for 4 measures, right? You can walk up chromatically. Look at this, from your D note, 5th fret A string. Now when you do that, look at that. It's like a C chord, so you form a C shape. And then you add your pinky, and it's a dominant 7 or an E7 in this case. That's still your root, as if you're playing that, but you're playing it down here. Back up. You can always do those little chromatic. Okay, now same rock, just I climb back up here to the same shape, that C or C7 shape. Back down to the 4 chord E. Now this is case the turnaround goes like this, and this is where it varies, and you got to really be listening. This one goes. Particular track. Sometimes we'll go. And whatever the band's playing, that really will determine how you approach the turnaround, okay? So that's first and foremost the rhythm, just that very nice, slow, kind of percussive. Those kind of things. Okay, so that's kind of the feel of the backing track. Now, let's talk about what we can play over that. And I've got many blues lessons on here, and you hear anybody worth their salt on the internet talking about this stuff, and you're going to talk about mixing in major and minor. And I always share my personal growth as a guitar player and how I was taught to avoid the pitfalls that I did. So when I grew up, and of course, it's 20,000 years ago, before the internet, I always thought I was a decent blues player, but really I sucked, and still probably suck, but I know a little more than I did back then. So the point is, I was always taught, just play minor pentatonic over the blues, man, and you're good to go. And not really, man. You got to hear those major notes in there. You got to hear the major thirds, and that's what it's really all about. And I would always hear, players like B.B. King and Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I was like, man, I just don't know what they're doing. And my ear wasn't good enough back then, and I didn't know. I had no direction. I was young, but I knew what I was hearing, but I wasn't sure what it was. So, fast forward a few years, and I just learned a couple tricks, like I'm showing you guys, and it's really easy. You're just adding like the major third and like some arpeggios and things like that. So in this case, you want to really get a nice mix of major minor if you're going to play in a slow blues, in my opinion. So the very first lick I did was an old lick that you hear a lot in blues, and it's a great lick, and it's easy. Okay, so over that one chord, right, so you're just going with the major pentatonic. Here's your B major. I can play anywhere. I think I played it up here for whatever reason. Just variation in sound. One of the little higher sounds. So here's my B note, and if you go up the major pentatonic, again, starting major, up the scale, that's right. So if you phrase that a little differently, it's going to sound completely different than in blues. If I went, but you take that sound over this nice slow chord, you go, okay, and then you're walking chromatically down to that A note, right, and it's nice over that B7, right, because that is the flat 7, right, so here's your B7 arpeggio. So you're targeting, right? You're targeting these notes. Okay. Then it goes to the 4 chord. Do the same exact riff. Okay. Now here's where that major third comes into play. So now let's take a look at this. Let's stop right there for a second. Okay. And get a little drink of coffee here. Nothing like hearing somebody slurp liquid. It's really draws you to the channel, right? Okay, so let me back up even further here. The first 2 licks I played were just up the major pentatonic off of each chord, targeting the flat 7. And again, you can visually look at these chords, man. Like if I go, look at that. These notes are in the chords, so stop right there. If you don't know this stuff, man, stop right now. Just hit pause. Do whatever you got to do. Look at the chords and look at these notes I'm playing. These are light bulb moments, hopefully, for some of you guys, if you don't know this, and girls. When you land on these notes, you can see these chords, okay? And don't get in a pigeonhole and say, well, you played the B7 up here. Yeah, I did, but I can play it all over the neck. So you got to learn this shit, man. You got to learn it all over the neck. So here, there's the flat 7, the A note. You can see it in the chord. Always do the arpeggio. Then I did the same thing. Look. Here's my E note. Now, right there, same thing, look. That note, there's the flat 7. You can see it. And another little trick, man, if you don't know like what a flat 7 is, and I didn't for a long time, it just means you take the 7th note of a scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you flat it. And that's what you're hearing in that blues stuff, is those flat 7s. It's part of the minor pentatonic, which is the flat 7. So that's all that is. Well, look, there's that little arpeggio. It's also part of that chord. Okay, and find out what note it is. That's a D note. Take a mental note that D note is the flat 7. Okay? Now, when I do that, here's the cool news. Now we're back in familiar territory. Look, we're inside of our B7 chord. We're inside of our B blues box. And, but I'm always going to talk about this stuff, so if you know it, that's okay. But when you're playing that minor pentatonic, man, this major third, that's not in the pentatonic, right? But we want it to be. So it's an added note. It's an invited note. We want to bring that in as a guest when we're playing this blues stuff, right? So that's this note. So in context, here's a little exercise for you. Play your minor pentatonic, which we all know. Now instead of keep going, just go. That's your riff of the day. Just practice that. And that's, then you start getting this territory, the Mixolydian sound, the major sound, however you want to think about it. Don't overthink about it. Just know that we're adding some of these happy notes in, okay? So that's what I did. So far, back up. Minor third, major third, hammer on to B, which is our root note, right? And again, man, I guess I don't hate to get long with it. I always say I feel bad talking too much, but hopefully you guys are here to learn about this stuff. So always know like these notes you're landing on. I think a lot of us get just tied up in like, show me the riff. I don't care what it is. And I get that. We just want instant gratification, man. We want to sound cool and play stuff, but take the time to learn what you're playing, right? Minor third, major third, root, because then you can play it anywhere. Look, any key you're in, that little trick works. So I played that minor third, major third. Now watch this. Down the scale, the blues scale. Another one of my favorite little blues we just did it, but up here. Minor third, major third, root, octave. That's one of my favorite little licks or sounds right there. I love that. Okay, so that's what I was doing, just playing over the first couple measures. Then I went over to the E. Okay, it goes back. So there, I was thinking the same thing, man. Like, up that E major pentatonic. Another great little riff. And again, you learn these little things that hopefully will stick with you. But this riff. Up that major pentatonic, but like the way I visualize it too is like, okay, here's my chord and I'm playing like a whole step up, right? So here's minor pentatonic, which many of us get pigeonholed into playing. But if you just go up like one box, right? I'm not saying it's this. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like visually, you can kind of gauge like, right? But it's off of this. So now I'm going. And I can't remember what I did. I think I played. I just walked back on the blues scale. Yeah. Or, right, so if I'm over the E, I'd land on E, but. Okay. Then back to the one chord, and I did another lick. I went real common, so I'm just playing that little, right, bending around the box. This is straight minor pentatonic, old school. And when you slide up, look at that, you're sliding, and again, pay attention to the note you're landing on. You're landing on the B note. Okay, now the hard part, man. The turnaround, that's where everybody, not everybody, but that's where a lot of people get lost, right? So, and a lot of good players, and I get lost too sometimes, man, because I got my bag of tricks that I try and use. And if you're playing blues long enough, you run out of these little tricks, or otherwise you just got to keep repeating. So there's a lot of ways to not get pigeonholed, okay? So let's look at the chord like this. I'm using this one example. I said I usually don't play this chord. I wasn't playing it for my rhythm, but I'm using it as a visual. So let's back up. B, E, E. B, E, F sharp. So when it goes to that turnaround, let's just play the rhythm. So it's like. So that's a very important part. That's where things start happening and changing, and the ear starts hearing all kinds of stuff. So a great, easy riff you can do is right off of this chord. You'll never forget this. So watch this. Here's your F sharp. Well, inside this box, you got this little double stop. And you're walking down that scale again, so you're doing like a little bend. So over that chord, that sounds great. Right off that shape. Look where you land. Right there to play your next chord or visualize it, and then you can do the same thing here. So it's the same lick twice and it sounds great. Which now brings us to this last part where the chords go. Now, there's times where I might play or whatever, But that turnaround, some of these classic turnarounds don't work because it goes 1 chord, 4 chord, 4, 5 chord without kind of doing that little interchange. So I kept this real simple. This is the tried and true turnaround. Everybody knows this. Back to the 1. Okay, so that is that turnaround. Start on your root. And there you go, man. You're back to your 4, and that will take you right back home to those licks again. Practice them again. Okay, like that lick. Sometimes I add a little double stop to that. So when I do. It's that lick, right? That minor third, major third. So coming from the E. Add a little double stop. So that's a nice little 12-bar solo that you guys can work on, and that should get you started. Now, obviously, you want to expand upon that and run with those ideas. There's a million ways you could phrase that, but those are some easy, proven licks that work over a nice slow blues. And then challenge yourself, play it in different keys. Go to the key of A or E or whatever. It's all movable. So, as always, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate the comments. I always read them, and if I don't even respond, I'm definitely seeing them. And please hit the like and subscribe button if you like this video and the channel. If it's helping you out, it helps me out. And of course, I got that Patreon page. I have my new Rhythm of Life recently with Daniel Donato. That was really great. He's one of the most badass guitar players on the scene right now. So if you guys are watching this and haven't seen it yet, maybe check out my videos, some of those Rhythm of Lives. And as always, thank you guys. I appreciate the love. We'll see you next time.